Hello there and a very warm welcome to Channel's Beam. I am Victor Mathias. The week-long protest organized in January 2012 against the hike in fuel price may have opened the door for a plethora of other protests that have followed since then. Most recently, university students have often used protests to register their displeasure over decisions they deem unfair by university authorities. On the program today, we will be examining some of these issues and how they can be resolved to forestall future occurrences. I will be joined by Gossy Ukanwoke and other change agents from around the world via a video call. But before we begin, let's first review other social media trending topics. The deaths of the Emir of Kano, Alhaji Ado Bayero, and former Minister of Information, Professor Dora Akunyili, were the major issues in social media circles. Sympathizers uploaded their pictures as their avatars and wished them well in their journey in the afterlife. With less than 96 hours to the FIFA World Cup, social media enthusiasts have been making predictions and sending well-wishing notes to the Super Eagles of Nigeria, urging them to do the country proud. Sweet and sour, I must say, but that's where we are. Let's now meet our online contributors.
The cadence started from 1975 up to this present age, and it's so unfortunate. Many of our past leaders have had the opportunity to fix it. They have just decided in their own imagination not to be willing to. And this whole thing came to a head when Obasanjo started doling out licenses to private universities, and then universities became a commercial venture that our leaders, or Nigeria's leaders, who have stolen so much from that country, saw as an opportunity to continue to remain relevant. So every Tom, Dick, and Harry now started having licenses to operate universities, and things got really worse. So if you ask me, what you have going on is just a minute representation of what the Nigerian system itself looks like. And it's simply a failure of a system that is non-existent, made worse by an Obasanjo who probably didn't understand what it meant to give education to citizens by the way he handled the licenses he doled out, which eventually saw to the emergence of several private universities, and that in itself messed up the whole process. So there is nothing we can do about it other than for us to change the system and get things going again.
With due respect to many of the people, and I know that we are very intelligent if we actually are given the right environment to study. I just said that most of the people who have graduated from university in the last 20, 25 years have been less educated than the people that has graduated prior to that time. And if you really look around the society, around the country today, you will find that there is a lot of evidence to prove that fact. An example is this, that I was speaking with a friend last year. I said, when I was in a first year in the university in 1999, we did some courses which I heard that they are still doing until now. And I'm saying, why are they still doing something which is irrelevant to what the society or the world is doing? Every year, universities, faculties actually do find funding and develop new templates or new subjects or new curriculum for their studies. But we remain and go to school and study the same thing. And it's the same thing that happens actually from the primary to the secondary, where there is no diversification of knowledge. We just actually study the same thing. So my point is that we have been stagnant in this area, and the people who did benefit properly from education in Nigeria are people who left the university environment by the turn of the 1990s, I would say, because after then things started actually collapsing, and there has not been a lot of evidence. Forget the fact that there are private universities. Okay, yeah, there are private universities that actually have offered an alternative, a better alternative than to the government-funded universities. And why is it that we have a lot of private universities? Just like as Mwe was saying, it's because government did patronized a lot of people. And people thought that, okay, why do you go to a government university when you have people or 200 students will be sitting in a classroom that is supposed to take 40 people, and then to study a course which actually is really irrelevant to them, something which they should actually have studied at the secondary education.
I quite agree with some of the few things the previous commentators said. I think our education system is in shambles, Nigerian education system. And we can clearly see that in the results of WAEC and NECO in the past 2 or 3 years, and the products of our universities and polytechnic graduates as well. So the problem with our educational system is that it is a product of the Nigerian system. Because we should look at it from the pervasiveness of corruption that has been taking place in our land and erode our value system, lack of good governance, bad policy implementations, and so on and so forth. So I think those are the things that affect our educational system and university management, both public and private in Nigeria, that leads to so many riots that were recently experiencing from both public and private universities. And for example, I would take a Lagos as a case study where you have a state governor that calls himself a progressive governor, which happens to belong to my political party, which is APC, and he doesn't understand well, I wouldn't say he doesn't understand. I think he understands the importance of education in transforming the people from mere crowd to resource. But the state government go ahead and put higher tuition fee in a public school in a state where you have a minimum wage at 18,000. And the state, I think, if I correctly remember, charges academic tuition fee of about 200,000 or 250. I don't know if I'm correct. If I caught the figures correct, Victor, you can reaffirm that because you are in Lagos. But at least the tuition fee is astronomically high, and you pay 18,000 minimum wage. That disconnect the people or the children from the lower income family to have access to basic quality education, which is constitutional right in advanced country and democratic governments around the world. They see education as constitutional right. So we still didn't value education as it should be, like it is valued up here in the western part of the world.
About what the previous speakers talked about, I think we are trying to blame two things that we need to address. Number one, corruption is not. I think we've hammered too much on corruption. I would say when Nigerians talk about corruption, it's good to talk about corruption, but we always see that corruption is everything we want to talk about. That is one. It is not right that corruption is the only thing affecting our educational system in Nigeria. Number two, I think giving licenses to private university, it's an opportunity also to create competition in the system. I never went to a government school. I didn't go to that's after primary level. I didn't go to a government school. It's my secondary level. I went to a private school. But in the primary level, I still had that feeling of going to a government school. But let me tell you, the competition is not there. If you go through the level of job handling from the government school workers, like the teachers and all that, to the private, you see the difference there. The motivation is there. Their effort towards the job they are doing, it's been reflected by the results you get from the students. But it's different from what is happening right now.